You finally have some extra money at the end of the month. Maybe it's $500. Maybe it's $1,000. It doesn't matter. Point is, you've got money left over after paying your bills. And you know you should be doing something smart with it. So you start Googling. Should you invest in stocks? Pay off debt? Build an emergency fund? Max out your 401k? Buy crypto? Everyone has a different opinion. And before you know it, you're so overwhelmed by conflicting advice that you just leave the money sitting in your checking account doing nothing. And 6 months later, that money has somehow disappeared into random purchases, and you're back to square one. My name is Mike, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people make investing so much more complicated than it needs to be. If you're someone who has money to invest, but you're paralyzed by the question of where to put it first, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this information finally gives you the clarity you've been desperately needing. Here's the thing that drives me absolutely crazy. There is an objectively optimal order for investing your money. It's not opinion, it's math. But most people completely ignore this sequence because they get distracted by whatever sounds exciting, or they listen to advice that doesn't apply to their specific situation. They end up investing in the stock market while carrying credit card debt at 24% interest. Or they're maxing out a taxable brokerage account while ignoring free money from their employer. They're doing everything in the wrong order, which means they're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table over their lifetime. According to a survey by Bankrate, only 44% of Americans have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. Yet those same people are asking me whether they should invest in individual stocks or index funds. It's like asking whether you should buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini when you don't even have enough money to fix your current car when it breaks down. You're skipping steps that actually matter and jumping straight to the fun stuff that doesn't help you if your financial foundation is built on sand. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact order you should be investing your money, step by step, so you can maximize your returns while minimizing your risk. And I guarantee some of this is going to surprise you, especially the part about why certain types of debt should come before investing and why others shouldn't. But if you follow this sequence, you'll be doing better than 95% of people out there who are just winging it and hoping everything works out. Let's start with step 1. And this is non-negotiable. Before you invest a single dollar anywhere, you need to have at least $1,000 saved in an emergency fund. Not invested, saved. In a high-yield savings account that you can access immediately if something goes wrong. I know this sounds boring. I know you want to hear about investing strategies and building wealth, but here's why this matters more than you think. Life happens. Your car breaks down. Your dog needs emergency surgery. Your laptop dies and you need it for work. When these things happen, and they will happen, you need cash available immediately. If you don't have an emergency fund, you're going to end up putting that expense on a credit card and paying 22% interest on it. Or you're going to sell your investments at the worst possible time, probably during a market downturn, and lock in losses that you'll never recover from. That $1,000 isn't supposed to cover every possible emergency. It's supposed to cover the small to medium ones, so you don't derail your entire financial plan every time something unexpected happens. Think of it as financial insurance. You're paying a small opportunity cost by keeping money in savings instead of investing it, but that cost is infinitely less than the damage you'll do by not having it. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Mike, I don't have $1,000 saved. How am I supposed to invest if I can't even do step 1? And look, if you're in that situation, your focus needs to be on increasing your income or decreasing your expenses, or both, until you can save that $1,000. Because if you can't save $1,000, you're not ready to invest. You're still in survival mode, not wealth-building mode. And that's okay, but you need to be honest about where you are. Once you've got that $1,000 emergency fund in place, we move to step 2. And this is where most people screw up. Step 2 is getting your employer match on your retirement account. If your employer offers a 401k match, or any kind of matching contribution, you contribute enough to get the full match before you do anything else. This is literally free money, and most people are leaving it on the table. Here's how employer matching typically works. Your company might match 50 cents on every dollar you contribute, up to 6% of your salary. So if you make $50,000 per year and you contribute 6%, that's $3,000 you're putting in. Your employer adds another $1,500. That's an immediate 50% return on your investment. before your money has earned a single cent from the market. Show me another investment that guarantees a 50% return instantly. You can't, because it doesn't exist. According to research from Vanguard, 21% of employees don't contribute enough to get their full employer match. They're literally walking away from free money. If you make $50,000 and your employer would match $1,500 per year, not taking that match means you're throwing away $1,500 annually. Over a 30-year career, assuming that money would grow at 8% annually, you just flushed over $170,000 down the toilet. For what? Because you didn't understand how valuable the match was. The key here is you're only contributing enough to get the full match. If your employer matches up to 6% of your salary, you contribute 6%, not 15%. We'll come back to increasing your retirement contributions later. Right now, we're just grabbing the free money and moving on to the next step. Now we get to step 3, and this is where things get interesting. Step 3 is paying off all high-interest debt. And when I say high interest, I'm talking about anything above 7 to 8% annually. Credit cards, personal loans, payday loans, anything in that category needs to be eliminated before you invest another dollar. Here's why. If you have credit card debt at 22% interest, paying off that debt gives you a guaranteed 22% return on your money. Think about that. The stock market historically returns about 10% annually on average, but that's not guaranteed. Some years it's up, some years it's down. Paying off a 22% interest credit card gives you a guaranteed 22% return immediately. It's the best investment you can make, and it's not even close. Let me show you the math on this because it's genuinely shocking. Let's say you have $5,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest, and you're making minimum payments of $150 per month. It'll take you 51 months to pay off that debt, and you'll pay $2,600 in interest. Meanwhile, if you took that same $5,000 and invested it in the stock market, earning 10% annually, you'd have about $8,100 after 5 years. Sounds good, right? Except you'd also still have that credit card debt growing, and you'd have paid way more in interest than you earned in returns. But if you use that $5,000 to pay off the credit card immediately, you save $2,600 in interest, and then you can start investing the $150 per month you were using for minimum payments. Over the next 30 years at 10% returns, that $150 per month becomes over $340,000. You literally just turn credit card debt into $350,000 by following the right sequence. Now here's where people get confused. Not all debt is high-interest debt. If you have a mortgage at 3.5% or a car loan at 4%, that's low-interest debt. You don't need to pay that off before investing because you can earn more by investing than you're paying in interest. The dividing line is roughly 7 to 8%. Anything above that, pay it off. Anything below that, make your regular payments and invest the extra money instead. Once you've eliminated high-interest debt, we move to step 4, building your full emergency fund. Remember that $1,000 we saved in step 1? That was just the starter fund. Now we're building the real thing. Your full emergency fund should be 3 to 6 months of living expenses depending on your situation. If you have a stable job with great benefits and you're in a dual-income household, 3 months is probably fine. If you're self-employed or in a volatile industry, or you're the sole breadwinner, you probably want closer to 6 months. The goal is to have enough money that if you lose your job or face a major unexpected expense, you can handle it without going into debt or liquidating your investments. They're about the psychological security that allows you to take smart risks. When you have 6 months of expenses saved, you can negotiate harder for a raise because you're not desperate. You can leave a toxic job without panicking about how you'll pay rent. You can invest aggressively in the market because you're not worried about needing to sell during a downturn. An emergency fund isn't just financial insurance. It's freedom insurance. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mike, that's a ton of money to have sitting in savings earning basically nothing. Shouldn't I be investing it? And I get the frustration. If you need $30,000 for 6 months of expenses, that feels like a huge opportunity cost. But here's the thing. That money is not an investment. It's insurance. And the returns you get from having it aren't measured in dollars. They're measured in stress you avoid and bad financial decisions you don't make because you're desperate. Once your emergency fund is fully funded, now we get to step 5. And this is where things get really exciting. Step 5 is maxing out your health savings account if you have access to one. HSAs are genuinely the most underrated investment vehicle in America. They're the only account that gives you a tax deduction going in, tax-free growth while invested, and tax-free withdrawals for medical expenses. It's like a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA had a baby that's better than both of them. For 2025, you can contribute up to $4,300 for individual coverage or $8,550 for family coverage. The catch is you need a high-deductible health plan to be eligible, which isn't right for everyone. But if you're young, healthy, and don't have significant medical expenses, an HSA is incredible. Pay for your current medical expenses out of pocket if you can afford it, and let your HSA money stay invested. You could pay for a doctor visit today, keep the receipt, and reimburse yourself from your HSA 20 years from now, tax-free. It's essentially a stealth retirement account disguised as health insurance. After maxing your HSA, we move to Step 6, maxing out your IRA contributions. For 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000. We prioritize IRAs over 401ks because they give you way more investment options and much lower fees. Corporate 401k plans often have high expense ratios. Your IRA lets you invest in low-cost index funds that charge 0.03% in fees instead of 1 to 2%. Over decades, those fee differences can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Now you need to decide between traditional or Roth. The general rule: if you're early in your career and in a lower tax bracket, go Roth. If you're in your peak earning years, go traditional. Once your IRA is maxed, Step 7 is going back to your 401k and maxing it out beyond the match, up to $23,500. This is where you're really supercharging your retirement savings. And finally, Step 8 is for the overachievers: taxable brokerage accounts. This is where you have complete flexibility, no contribution limits, no withdrawal restrictions. The reason this comes last is because of tax efficiency. Every dividend gets taxed. Keeping money in retirement accounts lets it compound without the government taking a slice every year. But once you've maxed out all your tax-advantaged options, taxable accounts become valuable for flexibility. Now here's something crucial that most people miss. This sequence isn't about being perfect, it's about being optimal. If you can only make it through Step 3 right now, that's fine. Focus on building that emergency fund and eliminating high-interest debt. The key is following the order. Don't skip to Step 8 because it sounds exciting when you haven't finished Step 2. The people who build real wealth aren't the ones who found some secret investment strategy. They're the ones who followed this boring, methodical sequence and stuck with it for decades. So here's your action plan. Figure out which step you're on right now. Be honest with yourself. Then focus all your energy on completing that step before moving to the next one. If you're on Step 1, save that $1,000. If you're on Step 3, throw every extra dollar at that credit card debt. One step at a time, in the right order. 20 years from now, you'll either have followed this sequence and built serious wealth, or you'll have ignored it and wondered why you're still struggling financially. The difference is the decision you make today. Stop overthinking it. Stop getting distracted by shiny objects. Just follow the steps. Your future self is counting on you to finally do this right. Before you go, this ties directly into the next video. If you've ever looked around and felt broke because everyone looks rich, I break down why that's happening and why most of it is fake. Watch Why Everyone Looks Rich But Isn't next. It'll change how you see money and people around you.